During 2020, I like really got turned off of football because it's like you said, like the analytics people, like the way that the kinds of people that have gotten into football, the fact that like it's kind of like a sideline reporter kind of thing where I'm like, hey, there's a lot of dudes out there who've gotten a lot of brain trauma. Why are there 3 people on this panel talking about football who never played football?
Yeah.
Right?
Look, I mean, I don't want to get you in any trouble. Look, it's DEI. It's
Right.
always been,
Right.
We need a woman, we need a female
But it's what
voice.
you were talking about where comedy was. It's across the spectrum.
Comedy was the epicenter of that shit, and what I get mad about is like people are like, you're anti-diversity, and it's like, no, I'm anti-diversity for diversity's sake because we had a ton of diversity in comedy.
There's always
it was the best of the best.
Yeah.
And people want to, and I can't stand when people want to do this retcon of America, that we grew up in as the same America from the 1920s or 30s.
Right.
Like, I was born in 85.
I'm a 1990.
Like the America that they tried describing is an America I was not born in.
No.
And it's, I mean, if I want to be frank, and I've said this before, and I got shit for it, but I don't really care. It's the truth. As far as I'm concerned, man, most of the black dudes I grew up with in Jersey, they had it better than I did, or at least the same. But they had scholarship opportunities that I didn't have, and the coach at Yale was basically telling me when I was being recruited, he's like, "Are you sure you don't have any Native American in you? Like nothing at all?" I didn't know what it was at the time. I was like, "Nah, bro, I just got a tan. I was at the Jersey Shore. Like, what's going on here?" Like, I didn't know what he was saying at the time. Bro, listen, man. Get in where you fit in. That's fine. But I again, as an athlete and a guy that I'm always going to be a jock. I'm never not going to be a jock. You are what your stats say you are. There's nobody that ever watched Greer Barnes perform in New York City and been like, wow, he's great, but I sure wish a white guy was up there. Like, it's just never happened. Not once.
Comedy's naturally diverse because if you've got like 10 different comics, you want to hear 10 different perspectives.
Yeah, well, at least 9 of them before the woman comes up. But that's another one. Like, there's such funny women, but industry won't promote them.
Yeah.
Because they're not on message. Somewhere around 2015, the message became more important than the talent. It didn't matter if you were funny. It mattered what you were funny about.
Yeah.
And the industry is just now kind of recovering, but it's also not. Because like they'll let like white guys in, like Shane Gillis, they'll let him explode, and he's the man. Shane's the best writer going. But they got to be like doofy and kind of ashamed of being white still.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying about
like
that.
Everybody, I just got done with Nashville. I'm down here in Austin, and I can't tell if Austin's trying to be like Nashville and Nashville's trying to be like Austin, but they used to be 2 distinct cities, and they are very similar now. And it's just like, I feel like everybody has come down with like a fever, like a low-grade Shane Gillis fever. Like everybody is like some sort of like offshoot of Gillis, and it's this kind of like lovable, affable, like I've learned my lesson white guy, and I guess it's the new aesthetic. I mean, good for him for fucking changing the culture, but there's also like there's something weird about it where there aren't like any other acts based on their demographics that have to go up on the stage and be like, hey, don't be alarmed, folks. I'm one of the good ones. I'm completely non-threatening. Like, I don't think Cam Patterson's getting on stage and being like, oh boy, I sure hope you guys don't find me threatening. Like, and again, I might be a little bit too close to it. I might be a little too inside baseball on this, but it's just something where you sit there and you're like, oh boy, here's another white guy that talks about how doofy white guys are. Here we go.
I think that his getting back on SNL was like a huge victory in that like they had to eat crow a little bit.
Kind of, but I think they sabotaged him. I think it was, but then, the way that they went about that whole thing, I don't think they made him look as good as they could have made him. I actually feel like they went out of their way to not present him in a way that I thought could have showcased his
I didn't
talent.
see it.
I mean, even his monologue, they put this woman dead center frame, and I watched.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And she just had this scowl on her face the whole time, and part of comedy is audience reaction and interaction. So if the thing center frame behind you is this woman just having the worst time of her life, there's a signal that's being sent to the people whose eyes are on that. They're like, well, what's she not like? Should I not laugh at this? And it's that split second of should I laugh as opposed to just reactionary laughing. Well, now he's on to the next joke, and it's over. Now it's a mid set, And I'm 38 years old, and I just said the word mid, so we're gonna have to, I don't know, burn this building down, kill everybody, so that we know it didn't happen. I don't know.
They one of the things that I see with Shane is like the audience reactions were crazy. The audience reaction to Shane is really wild. Like he's beloved, and I pick up more on that, like that goofiness is like that's clearly like that's his. He's like, we knew guys like that in the locker room.
Dude, maybe what I'm saying is sounding like I'm talking shit about Shane Gillis. I'm not. I think Shane Gillis is one of the best.
Like, he might be the guy right now. Yeah.
It's either him or Schultz probably, right? I mean
Schultz's hour that at the club.
Tony's up there.
Schultz's hour might be the best hour I've seen at the club. Is like,
he's a monster.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Schultz's hour, it's about like him and his wife trying to get pregnant, and it's like you're up, you're down, it's beautiful. It ends with a Sinatra song.
Really?
So, yeah, he walks off with a Sinatra song. So
Sam Morrill is another one that just incredible.
The stuff that Shane's saying is like the George Washington bit.
Dude, Shane's incredible.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that this...
I know what you're saying is that the
non-threatening, doofy aesthetic has become like...
The system...
Everybody, all of a sudden. It's great that Shane is so influential that everybody wants to be Shane Gillis, but...
Like the same way that people wanted to be Attell, right?
We can still use a Bill Burr. We can still, like, God forbid, a Carlin. Like, can we, I'd settle for a Dennis Leary at this point. Like, is there anybody that's just like, I don't know, maybe.
Well, what I feel like what's happening at the club and in Austin, right, is that like my central focus right now for anything that I'm like interested in is the MMA aspect of Austin, the migration of people here for tech, MMA, comedy, and watching people push the line in comedy here. Like, it's like this is ground zero for that pushing the line, and I feel like Tony, above all else, is the guy pushing it furthest.
Tony for sure.
And Tony is like, and that everyone has their role, right? Like everyone's like, there's like the offensive tackle, there's the running back, there's the wide receiver, there's all these different roles. Tony's role is like he's the tip of the spear, and the corporate people don't like him. Like I just saw an awesome video of him talking to Will Compton from Barstool.
Yeah. Busting with the boys.
Yeah.
Great show.
And he was talking to Will about the fact that Netflix was trying to like box him in, trying to keep him at the table, trying to do a variety of different things, and trying to shorten his set, and trying to do all of these things to stop him from shining. And he was like,
nerds, bro. The nerds ruin football. The nerds ruin baseball. Now the nerds are. Can we have nothing?
That was what was frustrating me about football, was like being involved in that universe, was that, and that's why I love where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Like you said, rising tide lifts all ships,
man.
Yeah, and it's I'm at a place, and you said about masculinity too. Like the whole security team at the mothership is, dudes, and and it's nice to see the ways that
because all the chicks are in Secret Service now. There were no chicks left for you.
And it's like masculine dudes, and you can feel the positive impact that you're having on other people. People saying like they're working out for the first time.
That's good.
And they're people come into our class. We run classes for the MMA guys, and just basically for the
comics coming through.
Yeah, the comics are coming on our Wednesday, like on our like beginner kind of day where we can walk them through stuff. And so you're seeing the positive impact of that. But that rising tide lifts all ships. It's a very interesting environment to be in, where you have a guy who has a lot of money and a lot of ability. And like you said earlier about like there's a whole industry that's just the runoff of what has been created.
Austin, there's an entire industry that's created off of the runoff of people that are just here to be a part of the mothership and then need other time. I can't imagine, if there was no mothership, I can't imagine the Creek and the Cave would be here. I don't think Sunset Strip would be here.
And Shane's brought a whole crew of guys with him, all the tires guys and the guys that are a part of that too. And then there's like a few different groups. Like there's a group of guys who came down here within the last year with Shane. There's everything that comes out of Kill Tony.
Yeah.
And then there's like Joe and like the higher level guys that have come along with Joe. And Ron White's really the first guy that was here. And then everything comes off of that. And what I was saying too is like to have somebody who's supporting the community and doesn't look at a venture like a comedy club as like as his sole money making operation.
This is the biggest problem I have with let's call them conservatives or whatever. Anybody that likes to bitch about the anti-woke stuff or woke this, woke that. And I tell them all the time, it's just money, man.
Yeah.
Give me $1 million. I'll go make you the movie you want with the people you want in it. Just give it to me. Right. Oh no, you won't. You don't want to do that. You just want to bitch and moan and whine. Oh,
you just want to talk.
They want to. They want to make. They make a lot of money off of complaining. For people that complain about the left always being victims and snowflakes. Yeah, they like being victims, man. They like being like, oh, did you see the new Disney thing? Where's your studio?
They're talking heads and they're not executors.
Where's your studio, dude?
Yeah.
Where's your investment? These people are investing in their message. Should they invest in your message?
Right.
Like, who the f*** do you think you are? Who's entitled now?
They're investing a lot of money in their message, too.
They're a ton of money.
And what's interesting is I think along the way I realized is that they don't even care if it makes money. The whole point is that there's a message. I had this thought yesterday, was that if 75% of advertising dollars on TV are from pharmaceutical ads, then the TV news doesn't exist without pharmaceutical companies. So it's basically part of the pharmaceutical company.
Sure. But the pharmaceutical company doesn't exist without government approval. So
right, like it's just like a never-ending, like this thing that's just
Hydra. It's the blob, as Mike Benz calls it.
Yeah.
It's very, very. When you get into the Leviathan and you start saying, like, okay, everybody now knows. All right, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard own everything.
I was just fucking with someone about that last night.
But they're publicly traded.
Yeah.
And who owns them?
Oh, you saw the cancel this clothing company video. Did you see that
buddy.
one? Yeah, where he keeps going back and he's like, these are private investors. Who owns this?
That's who the video. Cancel this clothing video was fantastic.
Most people don't actually know who owns and controls BlackRock. We all know that it was founded by Larry Fink, and he's the face of the company, but he does not control it. Because if you dig deep enough, you'll find out that actually Merrill Lynch owns 45% of BlackRock. And they're considered an insider, so they don't show up on the top institutional holders list. But who controls Merrill Lynch? Well, Merrill Lynch is actually a division of Bank of America. So who owns Bank of America? Well, nowadays, Warren Buffett is the top shareholder of Bank of America because he owns Berkshire Hathaway, which is his billionaire investment firm. But Bank of America traces its roots back in two different directions. One of which we're not going to talk about, and the other one is back to this Italian dude named Amedeo Giannini, who acquired what was then called Banca di America d'Italia. Sorry for that accent. Over the years, it changed its name to Bank America, and then in the biggest merger in history, merged with Charlotte-based Nation Bank in 1998. So I just thought it was interesting that half of the lineage of Bank of America was founded by this Italian dude that got really into Italian banking back in the early 1900s, when like there was a certain Italian organization that was doing a lot of things with money. What's the story here?
Yeah, man, and then at the end it's Bank of America. And Bank of America started as a mob money laundering organization.
Really?
Yes. It was the Italian Bank of America. And it got its money, I believe, I don't want to get this one wrong. I directed Mafia States of America. I should know this. Who was it? Was it Lupertazzi? It was one of the original mob bosses that gave the seed money for the Bank of America, and then it was a money laundering front.
Yeah.
And that it was the Italian
Bank of America. And it was called Bank of America.
Italian Bank of America.
Wow.
Now it's BOA. And they're the main shareholders. And the main shareholders of BOA, Berkshire Hathaway.
Right.
But the main shareholders of Berkshire Hathaway are BlackRock.
It keeps going back.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What's happening? And then you got these CIA cutouts, and dude, the shit's gotten outrageous. Unassailable, outrageous. That's why everybody was so excited when Bitcoin, the ETFs came out. They're like, Bitcoin's going through the roof. I was like, this is the end of Bitcoin, bro. It's over. They got it. They're going to get all of it, and they're going to do what they want with it, and they're going to flush everybody out, and then they're going to take all of it.
Yeah, those are the fluctuations you see.
They're going to flush everybody out. The retail person that's like sitting on 3 coins and it has like, that's their life savings, and it's just like praying for it to double, and they're like, oh, and I'll flush you out, because once you lose 30 grand, you're gonna be like, check please.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like, 30 grand, come on,
We're just hanging out.
come on,
We're waiting. We're
we'll
just gonna
see you
go
in
back
10
up.
years when it's worth $1 million a coin. But
They can afford to wait. We can't afford to
Correct.
wait. It's an
Exactly.
interesting long game.
Yeah.